What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for Sistas on BET, Season 4, Episode 5, you guys. The episode was titled The Night Game. So, before we go ahead and jump into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and are not subscribed to the channel, I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for the bill at the end of it. Do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turn your notifications on, and sharing the video, you guys. And with that out the way, without further ado, you guys, let's discuss Sistas, shall we? Alright, guys, so this episode we picked up where we left off at. And you guys remember the last episode we left off with Calvin at the restaurant fighting with those two African guys, right? So Calvin is fighting and Sabrina is screaming, right? And eventually the fight stopped. But when the fight stopped, Calvin flipped on Sabrina. And when he flipped on Sabrina, I was like, wait a minute, what the is going on here, right? Because the way Calvin was going off on Sabrina, you would have thought that Sabrina set this shit up. And in Calvin's mind, that's what he was thinking, that Sabrina somehow orchestrated this. I'm like, really? So you think that Sabrina told this dude, come over to my table, speak to me in Calvin, and insinuate that he's gay? Okay. And then the thing that threw me with Calvin and Sabrina was the fact that they were having this full-blown ass argument in the restaurant. I was just like, okay. But Calvin was rude to Sabrina, like super rude. And remember, he said, let's go. She says, I'll get a ride share, Calvin. He says, okay. And he left her. That part, I'm not upset about, but the way that he talked to her and the way that he was coming at her, it was just like, really, Calvin? You think she orchestrated this whole thing? What would she have orchestrated it for? To see if you were all, I mean, we saw you when you got knocked out by Jacoby, so I guess, is that supposed to be, was that for you in your head supposed to be redemption for that? So then we move back over and we see Andy and Karen, right? So Karen and Andy make it back to Andy's apartment. Karen tells her, don't do it, Andy. And she asks, are you gonna call him? Of course Andy's gonna call him. She might not call him right then, but she's gonna find a way to call him. And Andy says she's not, right? But Karen thinks that she is. Even I think that she is. And then the fact that Andy sat there and said that, you know, that shit that just happened with them getting pulled over by the cop and them hopping out the car, those fake cops hopping out of the car singing, he's sorry and he wants you back. Karen said that was some stalkerish shit, which Karen, I agree with you, that was some stalkerish shit. But Andy believes that it was romantic. I was like, romantic? Really? You got romance out of that? That was creepy, that was stalkerish, that was crazy, and that was scary. So, yeah, Andy, I'm gonna need you to I'm gonna need you to go find somebody to talk to about that, because that's not how that's not romantic, that's not love, that is stalkering, that's stalkerish, and that is controlling. So yeah, go get some help. So then as Karen is leaving, she calls Aaron up, right? So she asks Aaron, like, where are you? So Aaron is with the guys playing basketball. So she says, okay, well, we'll drop a pin, I'm gonna come and talk to you, right? I just wanna talk. So he says, well, do you want me to come to you? She says, no, just let me know where you're at and I'm gonna pull up on you, right? He says, well, I'm gonna let you know that Gary's here. She says, he is. He says, yes. She says, okay, well, see, just drop a pin. Okay, Karen. Very interesting. We'll talk about Karen in a little bit, but we're gonna pause here and move forward. All right, you guys, so remember, Danny, she called over El Fuego, right? Well, she called El Fuego to come over to her crib, so he's coming over, right? So he starts undressing, and she's saying, actually she told him, take them clothes off, right? So when he started taking the clothes off, that's when she started having a different change of mind. I'm like, what's going on here? And I guess she said at one point to him, so do you do this when your clients tell you to do it? I was like, Danny, you knew this man was a stripper before he came over here, so what are we talking about at this point? Like, I just really don't understand what we're talking about. So he asked her, what's the issue? Is the issue the white boy? She says, no, the issue is you. And once again, like I just said, how was the issue him, Danny? Because you knew that he was a stripper before he came over here. So, and you've already had sex with him once. So, how was he the issue? Maybe the issue is you and the fact that you just really don't want to do this. And then, so she told him to go. He was getting ready to leave. He said, "Do you want me to stay?" She says go, but then she says stay. It was a back and forth, but they eventually ended up having sex. And that sex scene, what was that? What was that? Because I was looking at that sex scene, I'm like, oh, what is this? Because you could see her laughing the whole time. Because before they went to commercial, you could see her laughing. I was like, this is interesting and not funny at all, but whatever. So then we go back over to the restaurant. So Sabrina, she's there by herself, right? So the guy that got into the fight with Calvin, he came back because he, lost his watch. He dropped his watch. I was like, you dropped your watch? A watch that has a watch. So you swung, so I guess your watch just flew off. Is that what happened? Okay. So he came back, right? So then he says, he called Calvin jealous. I was like, sir, he wasn't jealous. You were actually rude to him. You came over there. You saw them sitting there at that table, right? Even if you thought that he was her, gay best friend or whatever, you still could have been a little bit more respectful. You saw Calvin sitting there, right? And when Calvin said, we're someone sitting here, you said, who? Completely disrespectful to him, right? And then when you said, oh, well, my friend, I was telling my friend about you that I saw you at another location, right? And then my friend just automatically assumed that you were, never mind. Like, dude, you spearheaded that. So how was he insecure? Jealous. How was he jealous? You could have said I was rude, but he did apologize to Sabrina, right? And, he let Sabrina know that he owns the restaurant. Wow. You own that place and you're fighting in your own place. Granted, Calvin started it, right? But, no, Calvin did not start. Technically, Calvin threw the first punch. But Calvin didn't start it because this gentleman started it by coming over to the table, being rude and disrespectful. I still can't get over the fact that he called Calvin jealous. My head is still going with that. The fact that he called Calvin jealous. Jealous? Jealous. Nope. So we're gonna move on, you guys. So next up, let's move back over to Andy, right? So Andy is thinking about calling up Gary. I'm like, why? Once again, Andy, everything that Gary did, that should be red flags to you, but everything that Gary's done in the past should be a red flag to Andy. But Andy manages to paint red flags white, blue, purple, orange, any other color but red. She paints them everything but red. Like everything that Gary has done to you has been a complete red flag and should have been a moment of you thinking like, damn, this man has got me involved in this man has got me involved in that, this man is this and that, and I still choose to be with him. After Jasmine came with her homegirls to fight you, I would have been done at that point. No, what I really would have been done with was when Jasmine came to that apartment and shot at Gary. That's when I would have been done. Nope. Actually, let's go further back. When Gary and when he was taking her away, and she had to get a ride back from the cops. That would have been definitely when I'm done. Or it could have been a time when he gave her that money, and him and Aaron came to the bank to get the money back. Like, see, so many different situations where Andy should have been like, you know what, this ain't what it is. This is not what I want to be in. But instead, she still wants to be with him for God knows what reason, right? So while she's thinking about calling Gary, her phone rings and it's Robin, right? So Robin is on the plane and I guess he's heading back to London, right? So Andy, at this point, Andy, I was like, oh, so Andy is a whole ass bird, right? Because, Robin is flirting with her over the phone, right? He's telling her, I was thinking about you. She says, what were you thinking about? He was like, holding you, kissing you, touching you, all kind of stuff, right? And, Andy's over there blushing and stuff. He says, what are you thinking about? Oh, I'm thinking about you too. I'm thinking about, you holding me, you doing this to me, you doing that to me. And beep, beep, her phone rings. So she looks at it. So, yeah, I'm going to go to bed, Robin. He was like, okay, Andy, go ahead and hang up and call him back. She was like, what are you talking about, Robin? He says, Andy, I heard the phone beep. How did you hear the phone beep? I mean, when people are getting another phone call, you don't hear the phone beeping, right? I know back in the day you could hear it, like when you used to have a landline phone, you could hear it. But when people call these days, you can just, I don't think I've ever heard, like when, I don't really call people on the phone like that, so I really don't know. I know I hear it, but I never know if other people hear it, right? But hey, he heard it. He told her to go call Gary. It is what it is. So she's gonna do that. But when she hung up the phone with Robin, she says, I'm not gonna call Gary. Okay, cool. Glad you didn't. So then we see Karen. So Karen, she pulls up to the park, right? And it's really interesting, right, that they're at the park, and like I said in last week's episode, typically parks close when the sun goes down, right? So, and then when you saw these guys at the park playing basketball, it was a bunch of black men, right? So I don't know what kind of neighborhood they're in, but yeah, not safe. I get that you guys are in Atlanta, but that doesn't scream safe to me, right? The cops could come up and say, hey, what are you doing here at this time of night, right? And a whole situation can ensue, but hey, they're playing basketball at the park, right? Did I miss that scene? No, I probably didn't. But there was one scene where I think it was Andy and Karen. Actually, I think it's coming up next. Where Karen was talking about how small Atlanta is. Girl, what? Atlanta is small? And especially, coming up. All right, so Karen shows up to the park, right? And Gary, Aaron, she's talking to Aaron, and then Gary comes up. Hi, Karen. Hi, Gary. How are you? Bye, Gary. I was like, damn. But hey, she's been true to herself. I spoke to you. Goodbye, right? So she's telling Aaron that, she wants to have a conversation with him, right? And, they're talking about going back to her place, right? She's like, I don't think we should do that. He was like, why not? Because she feels that they're going to have sex with each other, right? Okay, whatever, right? So while they were talking, Zach runs over because the ball went in their direction. She was like, Zach? Karen? So had Zach and the thing is, so they don't play on the same team, right? But Zach and Aaron have come in contact with each other before, right? Zach and Aaron have come in contact with each other. Because when Aaron was looking, it's as if he had never saw Zach before. But he saw Zach. Zach saw him. Literally, you saw them when they were in her office having sex. So it's kind of weird how he acted like he didn't know who Zach was. So Aaron and Karen, they ended up leaving, right? So then the game is over. So Zach talks to Gary. So we find out that Gary is he works with hedge funds, right? So he's gonna give Zach his card because Zach has some business that he wants to talk to him about, right? So then we move over. So the next morning we see Zach. So Zach, he's in the bed with Fatima watching her sleep, right? So she asks, when she wakes up, she asks him how was the game. He says it was good, right? And she says, okay, that's all I need to know, right? He says, are you sure? She said, yeah. She says, I trust you, so it is what it is. So then he tells her, well, I didn't tell you everything. He said, I went to this female's house before I went to the party. She was like, Zach, really? So she was pissed off at Zach. She's like, you know what, Zach? I got to get ready for work, so I'm about to go in the bathroom, get a shower. It is what it is. So when she walks in the bathroom, I noticed that on her vanity that there were little pictures there. I was like, so does she have pictures in her bathroom all the time? But then he said, 3, 2, 1. So she looked up. So what happened is the pictures, he actually took those pictures. So the woman's house that he went by the night before, she was a photographer. She gave him a camera. She told him how to take the pictures. So he took the pictures. I'm thinking to myself, what kind of camera did she give you? Because those don't look like Polaroids, for one. And where did you go and get them? Like, did she give you like a digital camera and you hooked it up to a computer and you printed them out and cut them up? And also because they don't look, but then they were black and white. So like you have to, I'm not going into that. I'm not gonna go too deep into that, but hey, it was cute, right? So we're gonna pause here, you guys, and move forward. All right, you guys, so the next morning we see Karen. So Karen, she and Aaron, they did spend the night together, right? But they did not have sex with each other, right? So Aaron comes out the bathroom and he sits on the bed with her. He says, so you told me that you had something that you wanted to talk to me about, right? She says, I do, but not right now. I'm just still trying to process things. Girl, as easy as I'm pregnant. The way you blurted it out to Zach is the easiest way you can say it is I'm pregnant, but okay. So, she tells him everything is good, right? I was just thinking to myself, like, Karen, just say it. I'm pregnant. It's not like he can get, the thing is, you're pregnant, right? And you're saying you're pregnant by Zach, so with you telling Aaron that you're pregnant, it's not like Aaron can get mad, right? You and Aaron are not in a relationship, so it wouldn't be a thing of you cheated on Aaron. And on top of that, Aaron already caught you having sex with Zach, right? So I'm sure Aaron could have assumed that when you guys were having sex in that broom closet that you guys didn't wear a condom. So I don't know why Karen is dragging this out. And she's dragging it out with the ladies, right? So then we see Andy. So Andy, she's getting ready to head to work, right? So Andy is talking to herself. Take your car. Take the car that you paid for. Take your car, the car you paid for. Not this one. So Karen calls her. She says, I wasn't going to take it, Karen. Whatever, Andy. So then she tells her that, Karen tells Andy that she saw Gary last night when she went to go see Aaron at the basketball court, right? And that Zach was there. So she says, do they all know each other? She's like, how do they know each other? They know each other because of Tyler Perry. That's how they know each other, right? But she says, no, they don't know each other because they don't know each other. She says, but Atlanta is very small. Is it really? So then Karen tells Andy that, gather all the girls because I got something that I need to tell y'all, right? And Andy was like, well, that Danny is still pissed off at you. Call all the girls. I got something that I need to tell y'all. So she's like, my place? She's like, yes. So then, now we're gonna wrap the episode up, you guys. So then we see Gary. So Gary is in his office doing some work for once. I was like, how many episodes have gone? We have never saw Gary in his office. This is the first time I saw Gary in his office that I can think of. So Zach calls him, right? So Zach is telling him about the stocks and how much money he got from the stocks. And he was like, what stock was it? He told him what stock was. He's like, oh, I have been watching that stock for a while, right? I'm like, man, you was lucky. So then Zach is trying to get some questions of if he should sell the stock, what he should do, right, with the stock, right? So Gary tells him, like, hey, I got this guy by the name of, what is his name? Jake. Jake is he's somebody that I trust and I work with, right? I'm gonna put you in contact with Jake, right? So text me your info and I'll get it over to Jake. So then we end the episode with Danny, right? So Danny and Fuego, they woke up. That apartment looked like a tornado, had come through it, an earthquake had hit, right? I mean, everything was just moved on. I'm like, what the hell did y'all do? Like, did y'all move from the bed? Y'all, when we left y'all here, I'm on the bed, right? Y'all was still on the bed, but your apartment looked like y'all went all over the apartment and had sex with each other. But hey, so she wakes him up. She's like, hey, it's time for you to go. He's like, when we got the window, she's like, the window? Like, do you do this often? Because I mean, you switched when President came over, you went into that gay accent very quickly, and now when we got the window, she says, no, come out the door. So then after he leaves, Sabrina calls her, right? So Sabrina is telling her about the situation that happened with Calvin, right? So she said, did he break a nail? She says, no, Danny. Then she said, what did he, when she told her that he got into a fight, she said, did he twirl? No, Danny. Well, I mean, shit, he twirled with Jacoby. And then Danny, broke down for her. She was like, he probably felt like he had to prove himself to you, especially after that Jacoby situation. So that's probably what happened. So then Danny is talking about, the fact that when she gets to work, she should get a promotion. She's like, Sabrina's like, what do you need a promotion for? She's like, Sabrina, don't go there with that empty ass bank. I died laughing when she said that empty ass bank, right? But then she tells her about, saving a girl from being trafficked, right? And when she hung up, she was talking to Sabrina. She's like, Sabrina, see, this is the issue. We always talk about you. We always talk about you, which is true. Anytime that, they are on the phone, it is always about Sabrina and never about anybody, not about anything else but Sabrina, right? So then there's a knock at her door and she goes and answers it. And who is it? It's the guy from the airport that was trying to traffic that young girl. And I was like, wait a minute. How did he get her address? Did he follow? But they arrested him. So how did he find out where Danny lived? We gotta answer that one, Tyler. But hey, that's it, you guys. Let me know what you thought about the episode. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on. Share the video, you guys. And until the next one, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands. Wear a mask, you guys. Socially distance. Be blessed. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.